about the number of students. Actually, I'm getting a big number, a good number, but that's not very key to our purpose of sharing the Dhamma. And that's why. So I want to explain a major reason, because people who have been near us, they can't share this. They never learn to understand this, our concern. So I want to repeat this and to explain to you the purpose of all these courses. So also every year I choose different suttas. It will never ever be identical suttas. And I hope I live long enough. I share a few more years of yoga with more suttas from early Buddhism, and show how they can be integrated with all the other traditions and with our practice. Of course, I often repeat important points, but it will be in different ways, based on different sutta contents. Okay, with these remarks, and let me go to today's sharing based on last night. Actually, last 2 weeks, we have been reading a discourse by the Buddha on Kalyāṇmitta. It's called Kalyāṇmitta Sutta. That is in the Majjhima Nikaya. And there we see that Ananda at first exclaimed, as it were, all of a sudden, and being fully inspired, deeply inspired, and he exclaimed, "Oh, Venerable Sir, I know now the spiritual life, the spiritual fellowship is half the spiritual life," he says. He was very confident. He was very inspired and excited. So he was expecting the Buddha to endorse his statement. In a way, it's a very heavy statement to say that the spiritual life is half, spiritual fellowship is half the spiritual life. What does it mean? It means that if you have spiritual fellowship, you already got 50% of spiritual life. You can be 50% assured of success in the spiritual life. Spiritual fellowship is not half the spiritual life, but it's the entirety, it's the whole of spiritual life. Sakalam eva idam. So this Kalyāṇmitta is the full of the spiritual. And then the Buddha went on to explain that. It's a very powerful statement. It means that if you have spiritual fellowship in a true sense, then you are 100% assured of your success in the spiritual striving. It doesn't mean that you don't have to strive, you don't have to make effort. And the Sutta explains it very clearly. But it is a necessary condition. It's not sufficient, but it's necessary. In fact, in our practice, in the puja, every time there is one section we emphasizes this. I don't know whether you notice this or not. Under aspiration, what do you aspire? Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana patiya. You know what you are chanting, and it means the way you are reborn also. So make use of the principle and bring out your potentiality as a human being to aspire to come to higher states. And one very important way is through making vows, aspiration. And what you are aspiring here is that you say, as a result of this meritorious action, may I not be in the company of the Bala. The Bala means the fools. Fool in the sense of the spiritually immature people who bring you down. You know, you have friendship in your ordinary life, and often these friendships are not positive ones, and they disrupt you, and they mislead you, misguide you. Even, you know, the whole of West culture, I must say that. Maybe I'm exaggerating this point in order to emphasize a point. But you see people who try to tell you, you know, go to a rich country, earn money, and live a comfortable life. And that actually they are not, spiritually speaking, they are not helping you. They are not true spiritual friends. They are not necessarily bad people. They can be good people, but they don't help you in the spiritual striving. I have said enough of this. And when people, when they mature in their later life, they realize that, and often it's too late. You see. Anyway, so according to Buddhism, as you progress in your spiritual life and you are more committed, you have to learn about the companionship people. That's why I'm very concerned with how my students associate with what kind of people, because it affects your whole life, and not only from the materialistic point of view. They may be helping them materialistically, but they may be damaging them psychologically, spiritually. And of course, it's not for me to control their life. I never do that, and I think I don't have any condition in helping and guiding anybody. But then I must be concerned with this. So this coming back to this stanza, it says, "Mami bala samagam." May there be no meeting with the spiritually immature for me. May I not have companionship with the spiritually immature, the bala. Who, talking about spiritual friends and who they are, the Chinese tradition explain in detail that there are three types of friends. And last night I discussed that. I think some of you were in the class, you remember? There are three levels or three categories. The first one is spiritual friends, in the sense of friends who support you in your spiritual striving. So that also, of course, that includes your needs also. They help you material. If you are in need of your money, sometimes it is necessary. They will help you. If you are in need of something in other ways, in your worry failing, they help you so that you have a chance. They help you so that you have a chance to focus on your spiritual life, your spiritual striving. That's what makes a spiritual friend. Yeah. So that's how they differ from ordinary people who give you money, who care about you, who give you food. These people also, in the same way, they give you food, give you money, and they help you also. But they always remind you about the spiritual life. So they are spiritual friends. The first level of spiritual friends. A good example are those who, for instance, support the people who are in a retreat, or in a study program of Buddhism. And if you don't have people who support you and who cook for you, organize for you, who look after this logistics, then you cannot have a chance to join the camp, to do meditation and to even study. Even your family members, who don't oppose you, who help you, so that you can come, once a week to learn Buddhism and to interact with your teacher. There's a big difference between interacting and listening directly, receptively. That's an important experience. Not to absorb knowledge. Oh, I've had all this before. No, you never think like that. Every time you interact, it's very different from listening to a recording. You see, the people like TP and many others, like Arrow and so on. They've been coming for years. TP, for instance, since the time of Hong Kong U also, she spent several years in Hong Kong U listening to us. And I'm sure she can share with you that each time is a unique experience. Even if you may be listening to the same point or similar points, this point will be emphasized differently, in different manners and different forms. So people will help you so that you can even come to to have a chance to focus on your Buddhist studies or Buddhist practice. They are also spiritual in that way. So they are called spiritual friends of external support. Chinese, there's a term. You remember? You remember? Ngồi vụ, they call ngồi vụ, ngồi vụ, ngồi vụ. So this is the first level, the first type. They themselves may not know very much about Buddhism, or they may not be very educated, but they appreciate your effort of spiritual striving. They give you support, moral support and actual support, even materialistic support, so that you have a chance to practice and to learn. You need people like this, right? So firstly, the Chinese term for spiritual friend is Xinjisik. This has been badly misunderstood. Xinjisik doesn't mean someone who is well educated, who is knowledgeable. Jisik my God, you see. Okay? That word corresponds to Mitta. And Mitta means a friend. So Xinjisik is not someone who is very well educated, who is not necessarily a spiritual teacher even. But at this level, it can be just any people who appreciate your effort, who want to see that you have a chance to learn the Dhamma, practice the Dhamma, and they support you in various, including materialistic ways. Then the second level, second category of Buddhist friends are called Buddhist friends that call practitioners. Call practitioners. Thong Hằng Xinjisik. 第一個係愛護，第二同行。同行有陣時解釋為咧同舟共濟嘅。Like people call practitioner means they are not necessarily higher than you and know better than you, have more experience than you, but they are struggling like you are. Like most of you here, sharing the same values, striving together, and everybody is not perfect. Everybody has problems, but they mutually support and accept each other. This is extremely important. So they are also essential spiritual friends. The second type, I say again, spiritual friend as core practitioners. 同行善知識. At a higher level, the third type of spiritual friends are spiritual friends in the form of teachers, spiritual masters. These are people who are really more knowledgeable in the Dhamma, and more experienced, and spiritually in a sense more advanced than you, who can guide you, who can see your problems, who can explain to you about the Dhamma, what's happening to you, how you should proceed in your life. They guide you as guru, as teachers. So they are also spiritual friends. So usually people think spiritual friends, Kalyāṇmitta means sometimes only those in the first category, in the third category. No, that's wrong also. So there are these three different levels. So it's a very important doctrine, and it's elaborated in the Chinese tradition, especially in the Tiantai tradition. So the Buddha is, then the Buddha goes on to explain that his Dhamma comes to be a Dhamma that is well taught or well proclaimed, more literally. Swakato Dhammo. 就係法為善說啊。Well, the Dhamma is always there. They are in the books, they are in the lectures, they are in the suttas. But they become truly efficacious, and you can truly say that it is well proclaimed when it works for you, when you can relate it to your life, to practice. Right? So it becomes Swakato. How? When? Then Buddha says, for those who have spiritual friends. For those who have spiritual friends, the Dhamma becomes Swakato. And the spiritual friendship becomes the entirety of your spiritual life. So, spiritual friendship is so important. That's why the Buddha emphasized in this way in the sutta. You know. And then the Buddha goes on to say, how should one understand that statement, the emphasis? And Buddha says when one has true spiritual friends, then one comes to be engaged in spiritual practice of the Noble Eightfold Path, one by one. And not superficially, not just intellectually understanding the Noble Eightfold Path, but each one is described as, you remember, Viveka Nisitta, Viraga Nisitta, and Nirodha Nisitta, supported by or leaning on Viveka. Viveka means seclusion or separation. As I said, it means that, for instance, you want to adjust your life in such a way that you are more and more distant from people who misguide you, who distract you, who friends who ask you to enjoy parties all the time, and and teach you how to just earn money, and even without moral principles, and so on. You want to be relatively distant from that kind of unskillful, non-conducive environment. And that only then you practice so-called samadhi. I translate a proper vision. It's not I emphasize it's not a question of just right understanding opposed to wrong understanding. It's a vision. It includes more than just understanding the ordinary sense, even understanding the intellectual sense. And that practice must be supported by or must lean on viveka, relative separation, seclusion. It doesn't mean that you have to go to the forest to practice samadhi. And viraga is detachment, clinging. Nirodha is cessation. And so that you want to, your way of life must be such that all you do, the way you act, the way you behave must be conducive to cessation of these unskillful mental states. It must promote this to further and further progress, away further and further from negativity. And you can understand cessation certainly in that sense. So they must be based on, they must be supported by these conditions. Then you are truly practicing samadhi. So you see, samadhi is not just understanding, oh, I know, it means that if I know the Four Noble Truths, one is like this, one is about dukkha, second is samudaya, 3, 4, I know these doctrines, that doctrines, then I have proper views, I know what is right and wrong. It's much more than that. It has to do with your whole spiritual life and with these three underlying factors. Likewise, it goes on to other limbs, if you like, other factors of the Noble Eightfold Path, like Samma, Sankappa, and so on. I explain a lot more, and today, in a brief sharing, I don't propose to go into details, but just to emphasize the point, to repeat the point that it says that first premise, first precondition is you must have spiritual friends. And given this precondition that you have, necessary condition you have spiritual friends, then you begin to be engaged like this, because they help you to support you, and and you struggle together. Then you become morally supported, emotionally supported, emotionally involved. Your heart then becomes involved, not just your brain, with the teaching of the Buddha. Then the Noble Path becomes the true path to you. So in that way, the Dhamma becomes swakata. The Dhamma becomes well programmed. It's working on you. It's no more just a mere, paper theory written on the book or, from when you listen from lecture. So the Buddha explained in details. In fact, in that way, eventually, you are led to cut the story short, you are led to enlightenment. You gradually develop spiritually, and of course, starting with the precondition of spiritual friendship. In that sense, from this perspective, we see that actually spiritual friendship, true spiritual friendship, is a whole, like the Buddha said, the whole entirety of spiritual life. Then Buddha goes on to say that with him as spiritual friend, you can also understand how spiritual friendship is the entirety of spiritual life, because it's through him that we gain the Dhamma, and through the Dhamma we finally transcend birth and death, in short. And last night I connect this with the ideas of these humanistic psychoanalysts, and we have been talking about this in the last 2 weeks. And I recently shared with you more on Carl Rogers. If you listen to last week or the previous sharing, you would have been introduced to him. And Carl Rogers was said to be the founder or co-founder, sometimes co-founder together with Elfron, of if you like, a school of humanistic psychotherapy, and they all share the premises that it is human, is man in a general sense, in humanity, man himself. I follow the example, I use the masculine term, but it includes everybody. It's man himself who knows man's problem best, who knows man's needs best. And man himself should be the one making assessment, judgment, not an external authority, not an outsider. And if he can solve his problem, it will be through himself, not through an outside external agent. That's what Buddhism says. In that sense, Buddhism is humanistic, and I have explained all these things. So Carl Rogers was a very inspiring person, along with Elfron, Maslow, and so on. So what I do here is first to read through it and connect it with the Buddha's message of the importance of spiritual friendship. So first we'll read through this very quickly, share with you, to really appreciate his ideas, and then you have to read the books and some of the articles. Okay, so here, Carl Rogers was a humanistic psychologist who agreed with the main assumption, emphasize the same point. So agree with the main assumption. But he also added that for the person to grow, they need an environment. This is a very important one. I mentioned that word last time also. They need an environment. You can't grow abstractly. You can't practice even the Buddhist moral life abstractly, or even meditation abstractly. I have used the word context, and Carl Rogers emphasizes the term environment. He was the first to emphasize that you must have the proper conducive environment. Sila, as I said, is not sila in the Buddhist sense, and it will not have the efficacy of Buddhist sila unless it is fully integrated into the whole environment, using Roger's term, in the whole context of Sila, Samadhi, Pratya. Not just Sila alone. Otherwise, meditation Samadhi is not just a technique extracted out of the totalistic context of the spiritual life. So Sila, Samadhi, Panya are together. You need to have this, all this environment, the whole environment. So he said that for us to grow, and that's the purpose, that should be the purpose of a humanistic psychology. We need an environment that provides us, provide them with genuineness, and that is openness, self-disclosure, acceptance. He said being seen with unconditional positive regard. All these things is only possible when you have true spiritual friends. This is the environment. It's given this condition, wherein, even this environment wherein, even the context wherein you have someone to share with you. You can even disclose everything to at least one person, and what you feel to be your weakness, your right or wrong. You share your happiness, you share your sadness, your problems, and you're able to disclose, you're able to be fully open, and the important thing is that you know that you're going to be accepted as you are. The Buddha's teaching is also like that. In the context of spiritual friendship, we have to fully accept one another. We cannot judge from outside because we simply don't know a person. Very difficult to understand a person from outside. You don't know what is happening to him. You don't know what his aspirations are. You don't really understand his problem fully because you are always making judgment only from outside. So what you should do is to possibly accept the person, whatever he is or she is. So with unconditioned positive regard and empathy. So the person must be listened to and must be understood. So they must be, listening, they must be understanding. All this requires what is called spiritual fellowship, spiritual friendship. And I remind you of a passage that I read in my public lecture on karma and karmic hindrance. In that sutta, and sutta of Ugradatta, the elder, the Buddha explains how to practice as a householding bodhisattva. And one of the things that are stated there clearly is that those on the bodhisattva path mustn't despise the so-called monastic members and thinking they are Hinayanas, they are self-centered, they are not as lofty as we are. We are Mahayana, we follow a higher path. Not like that. In fact, in that sutta, there is no distinction, no contrast between so-called Mahayana and Hinayana. The term Hinayana does not even occur in that sutta. All this I've explained before. So, actually, the aspiring bodhisattva, householder, must go near to the monks and seek advice from the monks, seek guidance from the monks. The traditional monk we are talking about. When he goes to a temple, he says, "Oh, I'm higher, I stay at home, I'm a householder, bodhisattva, my heart has a greater ideal, so I don't need to go to the temple, I don't need to go near monk." It's all very wrong. All these negative attitudes or contrasts all develop later. When these two communities, that is to say, the developing Mahayanis on the one hand and the conservative monks, when they came to clash and each blames the other, and then you see in that somewhat relatively later stage, in some Mahayana Sutra even say that if you have associated with the monks and listen to their teaching, they are the Papa-mittas. They are the opposite of spiritual friends. They are evil friends. Because they prevent you from learning the Mahayana. And if someone says everything is empty, empty is empty, you mustn't listen to them. You mustn't. They are Mara. They are the evil one, more. So it's like that. Unfortunate things happened, and understandably, in the course of development. But at the beginning, in the earlier, you studied the earliest Manasutta. I given some examples in my courses of Mahayana, and to show you that at the beginning it was not like that. There's no mutual rivalry and hatred. And the emerging Bodhisattvas, they have an ideal that they understand the Buddhist ideal in their way, and they want to seek the understanding and sympathy of the monks or the monastic community, So it's like that. So the Buddha said, you go near the monks and seek guidance. And when you see them, you remember that their robe is an emblem of enlightenment. It's passed on from the Buddha, who was fully enlightened. So even the fact that they take up the robe and they choose to be monk is very, very difficult. And you want to respect that. So don't judge the monks. And importantly, when the monk definitely transgresses the Vinaya, so we're talking about serious transgressions. Even then, you don't blame the monks. You don't despise the monks. In fact, you must realize, they are struggling, and they can be very extreme good people. Many spiritual leaders, not just monks, in other traditions, you can see if you say, I told you about James Williams. James Williams was a great psychologist, and he had a book called A Variety of Religious Experiences. You can still read it. I read it when I was an undergraduate a long time ago, and he collected different case studies, and it showed that in the history of in the religious history of humanity, there have been many religious genius and religious leaders, great people, but originally they had a lot of struggle, and you might say that they have mental problems also. But they're sincere people, they're struggling. And sometimes, when someone is very serious, very sensitive about their spiritual status, they become very distant. And I often said that the Buddha also was greatly disturbed. You could say the Buddha went through very severe depression, actually. Otherwise, he wouldn't have left the palace and left his family and became a begging monk, and totally changed, became a real sage. To him, must be deeply unsatisfied with ordinary living. He's so depressed with human conditions. The fact that nobody can escape old age and disease and death. So he wanted to find a way to transcend the human predicament. So that is not just for himself, but for the whole of humanity. Eric Fromm points out that is, he said, a beautiful illustration of what he calls a productive type of orientation. He mentions the Buddha there, and he mentions the story of the Buddha seeing the foresight. All these are actually before. So we shouldn't be scared of depression, or we shouldn't be scared of psychic problems. But you must have awareness of what is happening to you, and when you have frustration and emptiness and within you, one of the things it can mean is that you're at a stage when you become very sensitive spiritually. You become very aware of you, even aware of your own imperfections, your own weaknesses. And sometimes these things can be very disturbing to you. You are not what you hope to be. When you are honest, you realize it becomes a very serious problem also. But the difference is that with someone who has full awareness and understanding of Dhamma, that person has a frame of orientation. He knows where he is. He knows how he should struggle. He has the Dhamma. He has a commitment, the goal. That makes all the difference. That's why you need what is called religion, that goes far beyond just the domain of moral behaviors, just a domain of just intellectual understanding, even of very sophisticated psychological and psychotherapeutic theories and so on. He has commitment. He has emotions. At a, you might say, existential level that makes him religious. So the domain of religion is far beyond the domain of morality, far beyond the domain of just intellectual understanding, to say the least. You've got to come to the level of religion in that sense. So, in that sense, I might say that the whole Western education, Western value structure, the one that is based on authoritarian, theistic kind of background, is the opposite of spiritual friends. The Dhamma is the true spiritual friends. That is why when Mahayana developed, Kalyāṇmitta comes to be regarded as the spiritual friends, Kalyāṇmitta. Read my guide of Pali readings. It's intended to not just introduce the grammar to you, but all the important ideas of Mahayana, important ideas of Pratyāparamita, of Bodhisattvahood. And you see statements to the effect that it's the Pratyāparamita that is your true spiritual friend. So here in the Kalyāṇmitta also, the Buddha also says that this fact that spiritual fellowship is the whole of spiritual life is to be understood by the illustration of he himself as the spiritual friend, the Buddha, the ideal of the full unfoldment of human potential. So, so in that sense, it is the Dhamma that is the true spiritual friend, or it is the Buddha who is the true spiritual friend, because it is a Buddha who exemplifies, who personifies the Dhamma, is the truth, and who teaches the truth to us, the Dhamma to us. So remember that Eric Fromm, here Rogers, too, as a humanistic psychotherapy, he emphasizes that growth is possible only given the precondition of the environment. And you see what he means by this. You know, there must be an environment of complete acceptance of you, unconditional positive regard, empathy. You know, someone who listens to you, who understands you, who tries to understand you. So as I said, you need to have, if you have just one, you know, you have several terms in the sutta. You have Kalyāṇmitta, Kanyasa, what is it, Sahaya, and so on. You see, you can see that the emphasis on spiritual companionship and spiritual intimate friendship, you need that. If you have only one person, that's enough. Or that will help you. But of course, you have a group, a small group, a community, is so much better. That is why, that is the ideal of the Sangha. The Sangha is not meant to be understood as an organization in the worldly sense, in the conventional sense. The emphasis is not that when the monks are organized, you know, like this modern idea of the church or the association, not like that. It's a spiritual community. And spiritual community is in contrast to a group in the formal sense. A spiritual community consists of a unit of spiritual friends. People who are all, sharing the same ideal and same values, and who are struggling together and mutually accepting, mutually helping, supporting one another. You need the Sangha like, in that sense. So the idea of Sangha can also be applied to even lay people, like all of you, practicing together. You need to have that kind of spiritual friendship, and that is similar to the idea of environment, or rather the idea of environment is similar to what the Buddha is saying, spiritual friendship. And he said, without these, relationships and healthy personalities will not develop as they should. Much like a tree will not grow without sunlight and water, you see. This is about growth. A tree cannot grow without all the conditions of sunlight, water, human care, fertilizers. This is the environment. So you can't speak abstractly. You can't expect abstractly, you see. Just growth, development, spiritual progress, without all this environmental factor. And Roger believed that every person should achieve their goals, wishes, desire in life. And here it means that the spiritual evolution, I call it the high evolution, is for the true individual. Everybody has a unique karmic background, a unique samsaric background, and unique problems due to our karma, due to our genetic makeups, due to our cultural conditionings, and all these factors. So we have a unique problem to solve. So a unique decision to make. And it's only when an true individual, wanting to evolve, to grow, using their language, that the process of growth begins. You need to have that individual awareness. So, and that in fact, we can all achieve this goal. We should achieve this goal. Otherwise, we are not humans. So we emphasize that humanity, therefore, is yet to be achieved. And this is the same as saying that Buddhahood is within you, and we can all become Buddha. We should all become Buddha in that sense. This was, you can say, one of the important contributions of psychology, Carl's contribution. And Rogers believed that humans have one basic motive, that is the tendency to self-actualize. We introduce idea of self-actualization. That innate tendency of self-actualization is all within us. It is existential, and you can also understand it in terms of Eric Fromm's teaching, theory. And he says that religiosity is within human existence, or the need for religion in the sense that he defines is rooted in man's existence, is existential. So this fact, this process of self-actualization is all innate with us. So when a human exists, he has the innate necessary tendency to want to exist better, to want to have a meaning, to want to truly unfold to the highest of his potential. That is self-actualization. So he says that humans have this basic tendency, motivation to self-actualize. That is to say, to fulfill one's potential and achieve the highest level of human beingless. So here, this is very inspiring book called On Being Human. We don't even pause and think what it means to be human. How does humanity and these brilliant thinkers, Western thinkers, they must be appreciated. Life flower that will grow to its full potential if the conditions are right, but which is constrained by its environment. So environment is very important. So people will flourish and reach their potential if the environment is good enough. So this emphasis on the proper environment, conducive environment, and now it becomes clear. You need that for growth. And this environment importantly includes the people who understand you, who is ready to understand you, have to accept you, to help you, to encourage you. And in Buddhism we call this spiritual friendship. Without that, growth is not possible. So this is like what is stated in the sutra. Without having spiritual friends, without that condition, then the Dhamma is not well spoken, well proclaimed. It will not work for you. Okay, I think that is enough for today's sharing, and I want you to think about it. And it's so wonderful that someone like Roger in modern time who apparently didn't have much direct contact with Buddha's teaching. I'm sure he didn't read those sutras, like the Kalyāṇmitta Sutta. But you see his ideas can really be appreciated from the perspective of Buddha's emphasis on spiritual friendship, which in his term is the importance of environment for growth.